Welcome to today's hybrids workshop organized by the EU SME Centre in collaboration with the European Union Chamber of Commerce in China. My name is Liam Jam, I'm the team leader of the EU SME Centre. I will be your host for today's event. Without further ado, I would like to invite Mr. Carlo Diego D'Andrea, Vice President of the European Union Chamber of Commerce in China and the chair of Shanghai chapter, to give his opening remarks as the host of today's event. Please.
Very happy to have with us the Consul General of Belgium. Thank you, Bruno, for being here. He just got a leave from the presidency of the EU Council. So thank you so much for all the activities we have been doing together in the past 6 months. And of course, in the nice and fashion European way, we went a bit longer, another week. We have a special guest coming from Brussels and coming from Belgium that I'm looking forward to introduce to you all. Of course, thank you also to Matthias, representative of the trade relationship of Belgium, Brussels Hub, and also to his esteemed colleague coming from Belgium as well. Nice to meet you both. So, today, thanks to the EU SME Centre, we're going to have this important event on the transition and the green transition and the role of small, please, you have a seat here, and the role of small, medium enterprises. As you know, as a chamber, we are very, very close to this topic. We are trying with our general manager to organize many events in order to promote how we can improve the business environment for small, medium enterprise. We have even a professor from a business school and our board member that every time try to help us to better improve the business environment. Thank you, Roberto, to be here, and also our working group chair, Joanna and Chris. Very important you to be here, the real engine of our chamber. So I'm just doing this because I want Isabelle to hear my speech. Isabelle, welcome. The CEO of Brussels Hub, which is one of the most important government agency in Belgium in order to promote doing business in Belgium. But she will tell us more later on. So let's come back to the topic of the day, small, medium enterprise. Even here in China, especially in Shanghai, we estimate that 99.5% of companies are small, medium enterprises. And they are a drive for the economic growth, innovation, and of course, of employment. We still have a disproportion between what the small, medium enterprise bring to the market and what they can get it, especially they have important market access barrier. 81% of our small medium enterprise surveyed in our business confidence survey 2024 says that they report revenue below 50 million, and 35% of them found their revenue decrease in 2023. And of course, we have to see also the impact of the 2024 in the business environment. We are really pleased as a chamber to know that in July finally will be held the third plenum, which we hope it will bring more reform, especially more drive in the direction of opening up and reform planning. Today we are discussing about green transition and the role of small medium enterprise. Definitely this is a critical issue for our member, and Europe and the technology and the knowledge of Europe can play a very good role in doing business here in China if we have the opportunity to do so, especially when we are discussing on providing services and other related technology to the Chinese environment. The 2030, 2060 targets are there. It seems that China at the moment is pushing growth over green transition because there are some catch up to do it on the previous year decrease of GDP. And this can be even more important for the role that small medium enterprise can play in this complicated time. When I say complicated time, indeed, I have to involve the EU and China relationship. We have an important trade imbalance that is there as a point number one in the agenda when there are visits from Europe coming here to China. And it's also important that we are all aware that our investigation ongoing in the both sides and the tariffs that are threatened to be applied, especially on the new energy vehicle or in other agricultural products from Chinese to European products. We see the small medium enterprise in China are still facing enormous problem in access to financing. Many of them, they do not have asset to give us a collateral when they go to the bank. And for the state-owned banks, it's easier to borrow money to state-owned companies than to borrow money for a European company. We were having the other day a discussion with some representative of the Spanish community, and they were saying, everybody are so afraid about the debts that China is slowly increasing here. And this economy said, I don't understand why you say this is a problem. This is a problem among state-owned banks to state-owned companies which belong to the same owner. So putting money from left side to the right side pocket. So this is something definitely small, medium enterprise wants me to say when I meet the representative of the Shanghai Authority, but as well in local and national level. As a chamber, we organized for the first time in our history a small, medium enterprise government dialogue last year. We're going to do it again here. We have our Liam from the EU SME Centre that say that Shanghai is the coolest chapter where to do business. Thank you, Liam, to say so. Okay, you have coffee on me. And beside that, it's very important that China needs to understand that in order to improve the innovation ecosystem, in order to have a real green transition, the small, medium enterprise should play a role and should be the player present here in the market. We are seeing more and more investment coming from Europe, from multinational companies. In the last 10 years, 5 companies from Europe made over 80% of the investment coming from Europe. And this is not healthy if you want to continue to grow, if you want to become the first economy of the world, and indeed, if you want an innovation ecosystem that thrive where the consumer can come back to spend their money instead to save there in the bank. That said, another point before to conclude is fundamental and paramount importance that the intellectual property rights implementation and protection in China should be improved. In Shanghai and Guangzhou, we have seen a step on the right direction, but China is made by 1.4 billion citizens. If a couple of cities, which are over make 50 million, there are also 1.2 billion up of people that should be protected. And indeed, our intellectual property right is still an issue for small, medium enterprise, which still do not bring the best technology they have back in Europe in here. That said, I would like to thank you all to be here, especially also to our guests online. I was told that we are over 100 people attending this event today, and this is a great result because we are, I put you some pressure, Isabelle. we are keeping growing and definitely keep tuning our channel in our social media because small, medium enterprise problem are top in our list, and we will continue to work in this direction. Thank you so much, Liam, and thank you so much, DigiGrow, right? DigiGrow that pay for the bill for the event of today, and it's really important that you keep doing your great job. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Carlo, for the opening remarks. Indeed, today's event is co-organized by the EU SME Centre. For those of you who are not so familiar with us yet, allow me to make a short introduction of who we are and the services we offer. I presume many of the participants of today's event, you are also from a European company and most likely SME yourself. That is why I think this introduction might be relevant for you, because all the services we offer are customized, made for you, and all free of charge. Can we go to the next slide, please? The EU SME Centre, we are a EU-funded project. We're funded by the European Commission, the Directorate General for Internal Market, SME Industries, and Entrepreneurship, DG Grow. The project has been established back in 2010 already. Now, currently, we're in the 14th year and 4th phase of the project. And as you can see on the bottom of this slide, the project is implemented by 6 implementing partners, including our co-host for today, the European Union Chamber of Commerce in China. The aim of the project is to help small and medium-sized enterprises in understanding doing business in and with China. In particular, these are the 5 main services offered by the project. To start with, typically the EU SME Centre has been recognized as a knowledge center over the past more than a decade time. The center has produced over 200 market studies, exports, guidelines, as well as case studies and success stories. We believe the best way nowadays, especially in the interesting and difficult times for SMEs who are looking at exporting and investing in China, one of the best ways to convince them to take this market on is by showing success stories, how their peers or competitors have been doing inside this market. So recently we have produced a good number of them. We also provide trainings, both in-person trainings as well as nowadays, after the COVID times, we have adopted also hybrid formats. I have to say more than half of our trainings typically are organized also in Europe. So we start our work from Europe by raising the awareness of European SMEs who are still in Europe, who has not yet a presence or who has not started exporting to China yet, by bringing the information we produce here, the information we collect from the market, on the markets, bring them back to Europe. And of course, we also organize a good number of trainings, workshops in China for those SMEs who are already operating on these markets, addressing the challenges and opportunities SMEs in China are facing. We also have established over the years a self-diagnosis tool. It's basically a tool that enables SMEs to do self-assessments through filling in a number of questions and customized design questionnaires, as well as by accessing to the frequently asked questions database that has been constantly kept up to date by a team of experts, in-house and field experts. We provide a chance for SMEs to do self-assessment on their readiness towards entering to the market. Last but not the least, tapping into the very well-established resources of the European Union Chamber of Commerce, as well as a number of bilateral European Chamber of Commerces here in China. We also work on the advocacy fronts, providing a platform for European SMEs who are already in the markets. We voice on their behalf on regarding the challenges they've been facing, being the regulatory ones, being the understanding of the latest policy updates. We also constantly monitor the performance of and confidence of the small and medium-sized enterprises who are already on the markets. Over the COVID times, we have seen a good number of them closing down their businesses. And now that it has already been 2 years since the market has been opened up again, we're also constantly monitoring the newcomers, the number of newcomers, and the confidence of SMEs on the markets. That's about it of the services. And again, all this information are accessible free of charge for European SMEs on our website. That's the introduction of the services and going on in the program we prepared for today. We are having privilege to have a special guest for today's event, Ms. Isabelle Grippa, the CEO of hub.brussels, who will give us a keynote presentation on how shifting towards sustainable entrepreneurship creates opportunities for businesses. Ms. Grippa, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your warm welcome, and also for a lot of people online, if I well understood. Ni hao, correct? Okay, that's a good beginning, good beginning. As the CEO of hub.brussels, it's my great privilege to give a presentation of how to shift towards sustainable entrepreneurship and how this creates opportunities for companies. I will speak more about Brussels, of course, but I will be more than happy to hear about the experiences of Shanghai. I would like to thank the European Chamber and the EU SME Centre for inviting me today to show how the Brussels capital region and how Brussels support entrepreneurs in the economic transition toward a more sustainable and inclusive economy. I will speak about that later. It's my second time here in Shanghai. The first time it was in 2019 with the economic mission shared by Her Royal Highness Princess Astrid of Belgium, and I was there to meet new partners in Shanghai. Unfortunately, just before after COVID pandemic, we lost a lot of contacts. So that's why we are come back 4 years after, and this office here in Shanghai is one of our most important economic delegation abroad. Highly proud of my team here on site, represented by Matthias de Boyer here, and Elise also here. I don't know where she is, but and Victoria, and that's a part of a large team in Brussels, because Brussels is the business foreign trade agency of Brussels, and we have a lot of offices abroad. But let me tell you a bit more about Brussels. I was born and raised there, so I'm maybe not totally objective, but I will try to do. It's the capital of Europe, of course, capital of Belgium, capital of Europe, the center of a lot of international organizations. But it's not only that, it's more than that. We have more than 183 nationalities, which is the second most cosmopolitan city after Dubai. We are very proud of that because it makes our culture very tolerant and very open to the world. We are very business friendly, but also friendly for expats or foreigners who come to our city. And also, there is a very high quality of life, thanks to a great and large support from the government. We have a high quality of education, high quality of healthcare, and a high quality also for accommodation. It's maybe the only capital in Europe and in the world maybe where you can live with your family, because you can have a house. It's incredible, but in Brussels it's still possible because of the regulations about the price of the accommodation. So it's very attractive to be to live here, to live there, and be happy. So to have more information about Brussels, I invite you to visit the website Why Brussels. You will find all the assets of Brussels and all the facilities that we can bring you to set up an activity or just be happy in our city. So let me also shortly present my agency. I've been the CEO for 6 years now, but it's a new agency in the landscape of Brussels. It's the result of a merger of all the organization, the public organization. We are a governmental agency. And the idea was to simplify the life of entrepreneurs here in Brussels, but also for foreigners who want to come in Brussels. So now relating to the size of the city. I mean, it's quite a big company with 360 hubsters, as we call them, hubsters. That's a hubster. Matthias, I'm a hubster. And we provide all the support that companies need at every stage of their life, from the beginning to the development, innovation also, but of course, internationalization is a big part of our activity because we are very open to the world and our economy is very dependent of the foreign markets. So half of our activities is based abroad with 90 offices, and one of them is here in Shanghai. But I will tell you more if you want after, no problem, I will stay and will be more than happy to discuss with you. And so we support businesses, but in a certain vision, with a certain goal, not just only to stimulate economy for the economy. For Hub Brussels, our vision is to create an ecosystem very fruitful for the social and environmental innovation. For us, economy is a leverage to accelerate the positive changes that we need to tackle the social and environmental challenges which we are all of us, all the world confronted with. We firmly believe in the entrepreneurial innovation to bring solutions for our future. And in that respect, among all the goals, supporting entrepreneurs in their achieving their social and environmental transition is our priority #1. That's why we promote in Brussels the economic transition. That's the name that we gave to that, but it comes, to be honest, from a larger framework because it comes from, first of all, the SDG from the United Nations with the criteria of SDG, which were implemented by Europe by the Green Deal. And the Green Deal was implemented in Brussels, if you follow me, in a shifting economy. And Hub Brussels just promote this vision, of course, as a governmental agency. And just maybe a small recap of what Green Deal is in Europe. It's with the goal of to achieve carbon neutrality in 2050. I think it's 2060 in China, but the goal is the same. I mean, we have emergencies in front of us and we have to work on that. And there are three main criteria for Europe. The first one is the three criteria are ESG, so environmental criteria, social criteria, and governance criteria. And all the companies has to be compliant with this criteria. And the first environmental and sustainable criteria is, of course, to be compliant as a company or an organization, but also the service or the product that you offer to the market has to be sustainable. The second one is very important. Unfortunately, we spoke less about that, but it's very important, the social one. To create employment with high quality of employment, local employment in Europe, because we suffer a lot about delocalization. But also with the third one, it's also important, it's governance. It means that for Europe, companies has to be managed in a different way. We can't achieve the goal, a very ambitious goal of ESG without changing a little bit the governance of companies. We have to be more democratic, more participative inside companies themselves. So the shifting economy, I focus now on Brussels. The current government, but just the end of this term, we discuss right now at this moment for a new government. But the former government decided to implement shifting economy. That's the translation, as I mentioned, of the regulations of Europe. But thanks to that, we are pioneer in a lot of innovation around social and environmental entrepreneurship. And all the public and private ecosystem in Brussels are now aligned with the same goal, which is interesting. We speak all the same languages, if I may say. We have the same goal and the same vision. And in 2030, which is very ambitious, it's tomorrow, all Brussels-based companies will have to be compliant. So we want to go faster than Europe, if you follow me well. Otherwise, they won't be allowed to have support, public support, or financial support. So it's a big issue and big challenges for all companies. And of course, to measure the progress of our strategic plan, we have developed an economic transition barometer. The government gave the mission to Hub Brussels, a high responsibility. So thanks to that, it's a challenge, but thanks to that, we could say that Belgium is a global leader in environmental and social technology and sustainable development. So to promote that inside Hub, I focus now on my agency. We have clusters and incubators supporting innovation in the field of social and green economy, such as CircleMade. CircleMade is the cluster, sorry, maybe just a small word about that. It's a gathering between the private and public and academic sectors to stimulate the innovation in the strongest sector of Brussels. We have 6 clusters, and one of them is around the circular economy. We have also a cluster on the eco-construction with eco-built clusters. We are quite strong in the passive construction in Brussels. We have a lot of innovation. We have the full value chain around the passive construction, thanks to very strict standards that we received from the government in 2015. And now all the value chain to build passive buildings and passive construction in Brussels are well developed. We have also life tech for around the health tech sector, which is very important in the economic transition that we promote, because we are confronted with the aging, of course, of the population. And we have a big social security in Belgium, but it begins to be difficult. Finance with the budget of the social security is today in danger, if I may say. And we have to find solution to support all very important social security. And one of the solutions is to promote innovation in entrepreneurship, to bring solution in the prevention, not to be too much on the care side, but on the prevention. And we have accelerator around the health tech sector as well. And maybe a word about the third one, which is the Green Lab accelerator. We developed a public accelerator to create new startup around a sustainable innovation in Brussels. I would like to highlight an important point for Hub Brussels, because as you mentioned, SMEs are very important, but in Brussels more than ever. We have 99% of our company have less than 50 employees. Just 1% then are big companies. And 80% have just 1 or maximum 3 employees. It means that the ecosystem, the economic wealth of Brussels is based on SMEs. And so with these very ambitious regulations and criteria that we have to achieve, it's very important to support our SMEs. And no company, and nobody, because so often companies is one person, has to be left behind. And that's one of the biggest challenges of Hub Brussels, to inform, to sensibilize, and to support all Brussels companies in order that they are able to be compliant in 2030. For example, to be maybe a little bit more concrete, we developed as our colleague a self-diagnosis but very simple to use and very accessible for all companies to measure their transition and to the criteria and to be compliant. And this tool guides the companies, which enables us to take the first step towards sustainable development and to bring them first support by conducting this test. We know better where they are, and they can self-assess their commitment to environmental and social and governance criteria and receive, of course, the support that they need behind. We don't let them alone in the dark, if I may say. We are there to support and to offer the support that they need. Yes, and a topic which is very interesting, the economic transition that we promote in Brussels. we don't have to forget that we have ambitious goals, but today we can't reach this goal without the representation of half of the humanity, which is the women. And today in Brussels, we are not so bad. So we have more or less 30% of entrepreneurs who are female in Brussels, but it's not the half of the community, if I may say. So we work very hard on that because women entrepreneurship touches upon the core of which we are trying to achieve at Hub Brussels. Because we believe that by stimulating women entrepreneurship, we create a positive impact to the benefit of the whole society. It's not a detail at all. And so at Hub Brussels, we try to reduce the inequalities for business women. And we do this by raising awareness, by supporting them throughout the different stage of their company to they start, extend, they lead, or represent. And also at the international level, it's a big challenge. Only 10% of women are export their products or services, and by introducing them to peers. And to this end, we created the platform Women in Business, which is totally dedicated to female entrepreneurship. And it brings together all the public and private stakeholders who are active in this topic and allows us to draw attention to the specific challenges of business women while searching for viable solutions. Cherry on the cake, maybe, and I will slowly conclude with that. Hub Awards. That's our annual event, very important in Brussels. And we launched that 3 years ago, and to promote innovation in the social and environmental topics. And we promote the best entrepreneurs who brings the best solutions for the quality of life of citizens in Brussels, social or environmental topics, whatever, but which kind of entrepreneurs bring the best solutions for our society. And this event has a tremendous success. So now we are every year very well attended for this event. And I've heard that there is a similar event here with the EU CCC Sustainable Business Awards, I think, in September. This is a great way to highlight the efforts companies make in making their business model more sustainable. So I hope I've been able to share more about how transition creates opportunities for companies, because it's more than ever opportunities. And I've spoken a lot about Brussels, but I will be more happy to learn about how local companies here in Shanghai cope with the sustainable transition. I'm here for that and look forward to listening to the interesting discussion during the panel, which will be very inspiring. I'm convinced that together, Belgium and China, Brussels and Shanghai, we can set an example, build international communities, all in the goal of reshaping tomorrow's economic landscape, where a zero carbon footprint and a socially sustainable business model will be the purpose of everyone. And I would like, finally, to thank the EU CCC and the EU SME Centre for inviting me to give today's keynote presentation, even if I slept 3 hours due to my jet lag. Thank you for organizing this seminar, both the European Chamber and the EU SME. Really, it's an important moment for us. And I would like also to thank my precious team here on site for organizing this event as well. Thank you, all of you. 谢谢.
Thank you for your interesting sharing, Ms. Grippa, introducing the perspectives from Hub Brussels and also the initiatives the agency is taking for helping SMEs in this trajectory. Going forwards with our discussion, we have today invited 5 panelists, a very interesting composition also of SME owners, academias, field experts, as well as specialists. Allow me to make a quick introduction of our panelists and invite everyone to the stage. We have Mr. Roberto Donna, professor of practice in management, strategy, management and organizations department at International Business School Suzhou at Xi'an Jiaotong Liverpool University. We have Ms. Joanna Kraft, associate director at XPM Transition Partners. We have Mr. Kai Tide, CEO of New Musketeers Interior. We have Ms. Mailei Li, Sustainable Director at Shanghai OHSA Data Technology. Last but not the least, we have Mr. Jimmy Liang, the Managing Director, China at Shanghai Waste Treatment Technologies. Please, panelists, may I invite you to the stage. To start with, may I invite each of you to make a short introduction about yourself, your companies, as well as if there is any initiatives you are already implementing within your company when it comes to sustainable green transition. Can I start with you, Mr. Donna?
Okay, my name is Roberto Donna. I'm working for Shanjiaotong Liverpool University. In particular, I'm working for the business school. Of course, okay. Since we are a university, we have always two perspectives, the student's perspective and what we do for ourselves. For ourselves, we have started a year ago, every semester an initiative that we call 15 weeks, 15 initiative, in which actually inside the university, every week we do something that is going towards the green transition. For instance, 1 week we decide to say, okay, this week we have 1 day in which we are not taking elevator. By the way, our building is only 5 floors, so we can do it. Okay. Or 1 week in which we have Monday free meat in all the cafeteria. Or 1 week in which we order, for instance, delivery only if the supplier is able to guarantee recycling stuff and something like this. And so we try step by step to nurture a culture in this direction. In terms of what we offer to the market, we have, as you know, in university, we need to have a so-called learning outcome. And so every course has a certain number of learning outcome. And all our courses need to have at least one learning outcome in which it's possible to understand, which is the environmental impact on what we teach. So this is what we try to do in this direction.
So my name is Jimmy Liang. I'm working for a Dutch company called Waste Treatment Technologies. I'm responsible for China and the Southeast Asian markets. So I'm also like a second shareholder of WTT Shanghai. So basically, we design and build waste treatment facilities around the world. I think more than 140 facilities so far across the globe, but mainly in Europe, but also in North America, in China, in Australia. So the concept of the sustainability is, we call it closing the loop, because we actually, you know, we adopt the circular design. So we say resources are scarce and valuable. So we try to make a circular design. So turn organic waste into a valuable end products like biogas, like compost, like RDF, which is like a green fuel, and that can substitute the coal. So you reduce the CO2 and also the carbon footprint. And also we, since we design a lot of waste treatment facilities, we also try to you know, recycle, let's say the heat, let's say the thermal resources that actually discharged by the composting process, that we can turn this heat into, we call like a hot water they can use for greenhouse and also industrial use. Also, we try to, in our innovation department, we always try to focus on how to maximize the recovery of organics. So for example, like the new innovation is we try to take out the fatty acids from the food waste. So that can also make a bio-based materials, or we upgrade the biomethane, so then you can turn into RNG and now try to turn to hydrogen. So this type of new innovation. I think one more thing is that we also have sustainable working approach. Since we travel less, yeah, and also we let's say we now normally go to office like 3 days a week. So more flexible, and because you don't need always everybody sitting in the office, you know, they gotta consume all the electricity and everything. Yeah, so we also awarded the Circular Economy Pioneer last year by the European Chamber. So it's quite an honor because we built a plant in China that was recognized by the Dutch government and also Chinese government. So yeah, that's the basic introduction from my side. Yeah, thank you.
Wow, it's really difficult to follow. It's amazing. I mean, I always wish I would have had a bit of talent for sciences and do really impactful things. Yeah, we replaced plastic bottles in our office. We are a service provider, very small company. We do interim and transition management. So we have a very small team. We're an SME ourselves. Here in China, but where we come in, we provide HR services. So we bring in managers to support your companies, to support mainly medium-sized and small companies in times of crisis, for turnaround, or for specific projects. And that's where we come in and can help with your transition to more sustainable development. Well, we have managers that that have a background in sustainability, that do the things that you've been so professionally talking about, and can support companies. And we see that there is a growing need here. We work with our headquarters in France, who have developed a team who's dedicated to that. Here we try to transport the knowledge and the systems to support European SMEs here in China. Having lived in China for over 20 years, I saw many things changing, and I see how they change now very rapidly, and where our SMEs will have to adapt. So we're very happy to help on this side. I'm also a vice chair of the investment working group at the European Chamber. Again, the working group is looking at investment regulations very widely, but now we also have to look at the sustainability relevant regulations, because they become an absolute need for companies to be aware of and work with.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mai Lei, and I'm from a digital company. We basically provide digital solutions for company sustainability and ESGs. So, and so today, first of all, I represent as a SME, as our company, and for another side, we discuss a lot with our clients and their supply chains. So, and basically we have different initiatives in sustainabilities, usually not just based on our office, but with our partners. And myself is on the board of environmental nonprofit. And usually we gathering our staff as volunteers to join these nonprofits activities. So like to collecting trash from the water system to protect the ocean, like that. So different initiatives. Another hand is that we are, the service we provide is kind of like promoting sustainabilities. So yeah, I think I'll stop here.
Yeah, but last but not least, my name is Kai Tiede. I'm the CEO of New Musketeers Shanghai. And yeah, our business range starts with creative or executive design and ends with on-site and quality management for architecture and construction for most of the time European companies who set up our own factory here. In between, we are also doing shop fitting. We build furniture. We ship whole stores to Europe, US, or Canada. And yeah, on-site management, project management. And at the end, my partner Lucy and me, we also teach part-time in university to keep the connection to the students, our customers of tomorrow. When we talk about the internal or external SMG, I guess we try to divide it a little bit because New Musketeers is a small company. So we focus by purpose on the social skills. It means we try to manage our team in a different way from a normal company. We provide frequently trainings, I guess 1 to 2 times per month. We start our day in a different way. We start with a morning meeting, including breakfast, every day with the entire team. And we, internal also sustainability, we change our cars to electric cars completely. It means we don't have petrol cars in the company anymore. And we, if possible, we drive together even to the way to office instead of always using the own car alone. To outside to our customers, we try to be the bridge between mainly European customers and local companies who provide exactly the service which can make our world a little bit better. It means when our customers from Europe want to set up a factory here, most of the time they don't have the contacts they need to get exactly what they want to have in Europe. Just now we had a company, they had a target, oh, we want to be green in 2030, totally green. But their first question was, how about return of investment? How much it costs and how about the return of investment? And even we are a small company, but even we realize a return of investment for social engagement or environment protection or change the climate or bring an impact to the climatic change. You can't look at it from a perspective of return of investment. And if it is in return of investment, then it will be a return into a better life or maybe an investment in our kids, but not in your wallet. And I was a little bit surprised that international acting companies in Europe still have this thinking. For sure, all of us knows it costs money. And another key fact we have is there's no way out anymore. We reach the point of no return. So to ask for investment or return of investment when you already passed the way of no return is the wrong question. We should ask ourselves which way we can use to keep the investment small. And exactly this is our role in the market. We bring the right persons together to find solutions the company can or our customers can afford and reach their target sometimes a year later, but they reach it and will not have a cash flow problem because of this. And this is, I guess this is already a lot we can do even with 5, sometimes 6 employees. So, it is not a question how much you do or how much everybody has to do. It is a question, what are you willing to do? And this we should focus on instead of to ask, can I pay it? The question is done. This question we should ask ourselves 20 years ago, but not now anymore. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kai. And exactly connected to your sharing, I would like to ask the second question, and also the perspectives from the other four panelists. Sorry. From your perspective, you have already made it very clear you don't focus on return on investment. However, as an entrepreneur, as SME owner, comparing to large enterprises, of course, you have less resources to manage this process. And of course, still a good number of entrepreneurs, SMEs are looking at the profits, are looking at profit-driven, are looking at what sustainable transition could bring as in business perspectives, business growth perspective. So I would like to also ask maybe Kai if you have anything to add here, but also from the other four panelists, what's your take on that?
Yeah, when we ask all these questions, I think the time is already gone to ask this question. We have no choice. We have to do it if we want or not. And the best thing we can do is we will do it together. When we start as a single fighter, and this is the difference between the old system, when you look for the economy 10 years ago, 15 years ago, everyone was a single fighter. And competition was a magic word. Competition in future will not work anymore. No one of us is strong enough to do it alone. We need cooperations, we need networking, we need the right partners in the right position. This is all it needs, and this is all we can do. So when we look at ourselves, we focus on the social things. As I said before, we try to manage our team in a different way. We even don't call ourselves a team, we are a family. With my partner, Lucy, I spend more time as with my wife. So we are a family. And when we look at our suppliers, for sure, we look how they work, from where they get the material, and. But another thing is, our wooden supplier for furniture has a quote of disabled person from 26%. And this is quite a lot. And it also will help us if we use a supplier. We have the nice European law now that you have to follow your suppliers where they get their goods, if they work according to the European social rules, and you will stop this discussion in the beginning when you only work with the suppliers. It means you have more time to do other things. For sure, for other things like metal, when European customers ask us for green metal, it is nearly impossible in China to get an answer. So for sure, we also have the problems. And our biggest challenge is to find someone who knows something and create the right network to find a solution. This is the best we can do. We are not strong enough to change the world. And I don't have this idea that we could do something, but we are proud to be a part of it.
Yeah, I think I'll just pick up with the solution for if you can find some green supply chain, because we find that in our clients are raising requirements in finding this kind of like supply chain management. So they're trying to find suppliers who care about the earth, who are responsible for their human rights, and who using green chemicals maybe. So these are growth in a part of our client lists. So, and you may find our clients, they're most of top 500, but their suppliers are SMEs. Usually they're SMEs from all over the world. So we take this as an opportunity. This was a fruit actually from the COVID. We have a pause, then we take the time to develop and to do some research And we develop a toolkit for SMEs so that they can use it freely to like match these standards, especially from the EU Commission and about the German LKSG. So they can find where the gap is and how they can match the compliance of all these needs. So this is, and you can find our task force, the keywords are supply chain management, green chemicals, as well as due diligence. Yeah, I think I will share it here.
Thank you. Maybe I'll take it from the resources, from the human resources point of view, because of course, increased reporting requirements also require more people, and in SMEs, you don't necessarily find them, or you don't have the resources readily available for yet another project. So what we do is provide senior managers who've worked in a number of enterprises, who have the experience and can, for instance, implement a project to streamline all your processes, all your resources, put people in place, put in place reporting lines and reporting systems so that it makes it easier for SMEs to cope with the reporting, to put in place all these, the monitoring. You have, of course, you have to review all your operations to be in line, not only with the coming EU regulations, but with all regulations and where you want to be as a company. You need to get your house in order, and you need to get people trained, and you need to get really new processes in place to live as a family. As you say, before you were living left and right and were trying to be the strongest, making most money, but now you have to implement a new culture, new systems, that you watch different things, that different metrics, different KPIs than you're watching before. So there, I think there is a need to get outside help for a certain period of time for SMEs to get those systems in place and then run with them themselves. But also, to your point of networking, you need to be in a network. You need to keep learning. You need to get new experiences. So being in a chamber, being connected through really networks that put an emphasis on sustainability is really important to keep up to date with the latest trends, with the latest regulations, and really discussions like this or the sustainability awards that the chamber is organizing are really important to make sure for SMEs with little financial resources that you really keep up to date just by sharing with your peers and exchanging information.
I think we get more, let's say, kind of a request from our value chain, partners, because we design and build, facilities around the world. So clients from different countries, they also have different requirements, especially because we design the plants, but we need to procure a lot of things. Let's say from China, from Europe, from Australia, so around the world. So because I'm also responsible for the procurement in China, so I also need to look into, okay, the kind of ESG practice from our suppliers, but it's rather difficult to evaluate. You can say, okay, this is more environment friendly material, and they are, let's say, treating their workers nicely, and there's just a checklist for me, just tick that, but that's just in paper. So what I changed the approach is that I try to talk to the boss or the, let's say, the workers, try to have some interview with them and try to get more about how it works in the workshop. So I think it's for our company, because we're dealing with the environment every day. So we try to make a greener, cleaner environment. So, but this kind of difficult, because if you do manufacturing, there's always will be some harm to the environment, but you need this, manufacturers to produce equipment. And also another thing is like SMEs, we have some financial constraints. So the cash flow is the key at this moment. So you always need to make a balance between the cost and also the sustainability approach and things. So especially for procurement, so cost is the key. So in China, you can find European standard workshop, but then also really costs a lot. So you always find something in between. So try to find a most cost-effective, let's say, supplier. So yeah, in practice, it's not that easy. So yeah, that's kind of my experience.
Okay, so being part of a business school, as a business school, we need to impact on the ecosystem surrounding us. Okay, we are in Suzhou. Suzhou is a manufacturing area, first tier, second tier supplier. And for most of our customer, the point is the customer, let's say the companies that we work with, the point is the sustainability of sustainability. And this is the issue. So what we see is actually there are two approaches. Those that are really pushed by their downstream supply chain, they need to do, because otherwise they stop to sell. So in this moment, I would say that for many companies, the economic reason of investing in sustainability is not to lose their market. Other companies instead, with a more short-term perspective, they tend to diversify their business, look in the market that have a less strong requirement. And that's why we see that there is a very clear distinction, those that are still looking to upgrade their production, their quality, to go to premium markets, and those that instead they prefer to close their eyes and to go to more, let's say, cheap market, or where cheap is not cheap, but it means that where the price point is lower. As a business school, for us, is an opportunity because we need to educate the market. And in educating the market, of course, we have the opportunity to offer new products. But what is clear to us is that, maybe you will be happy listening this, is that it's impossible to decouple. Can I use this word here? Decouple? No, maybe. Okay, it's okay. It's not possible to separate sustainability and digitalization. It's impossible. It's, if you want to really have, and we would like to add one more element, even agility. So basically, in our view, sustainability is for sure the goal. Digitalization is the trigger, and agility has to be the way. So companies need to understand that in order to achieve a sustainable goal, they need to increase their level of digitalization, and for sure, they need to streamline their process as much as they can. And therefore, we try to do this. So we try to give this answer to the question if sustainability is sustainable.
Thank you. I would connect it to everybody's sharing here, and also I would like to echo back again the presentation introduction from Ms. Grippa on the regulatory framework in Brussels, in Belgium, and also in Europe, comparing to what the markets introduces here when it comes to the impacts of the regulatory framework here in China, both in a positive and also in a challenge or negative way. How much of an impact do you think it is placing on this whole green transition process on your businesses? And also, as I think maybe Jimmy, you have more to tell because you are in the manufacturing business as well, and you are in the long supply chain, possibly. So may I start with you for this question?
Sorry, what's the question again?
About the regulatory framework.
Okay. It's since we procure a lot in China. We are not in the manufacturing business, but we procure a lot in China. And now, especially when you export into Europe, I think in the time frame is 2026 about the carbon thing. Then you have kind of an additional tax on that. So that's also because if we do the certification in China, this is probably not accepted by the European Chamber. So then you need also kind of European third party to certify this product. Then you can, let's say, export, let's say, without any difficulties. So this is something internally in discussion how to deal with this, because this kind of regulatory, let's say, impact on our supply chain. So this is kind of, let's say, the most serious impact on our supply chain now. For the rest, and I think I checked something. Yes, this is a difficult question for me, so I did some homework. So I think the EU legislation, such as CSRD and CS3D, so attempts to shelter most SMEs from their direct applications, who will be required to report CSRD disclosures from 2026. So this is also could be will be let's say affected by the trickle down effects. So these kind of legislative trends will directly affect the SMEs. Yeah, so also the corporate carbon tax, yeah, things like that.
Yeah, maybe I think there's a lot that's been talked about the European regulations coming to China, but China has also its own regulations, and you have national regulation, you have local regulations. So I think it's really important for SMEs, European SMEs coming into China, to also get acquainted before coming into China with the regulations, not only at national level, but also if they produce somewhere, say one of our neighboring provinces is particularly strict because they had so many accidents. So I think some of the lawyers in the room can give you some advice. I spotted a few, and I think the SME Center is doing a lot of work to prepare companies, because that's why I'm speaking now for Europe. Really important, especially for SMEs, to really know before they go.
Okay, go ahead.
I'll just give you the mic.
Anyway, even if I shouldn't say this, I said that. I believe that in this moment, in the historical moment, the more regulated, the better it is. But it's not just regulation. We need to do strong advocacy, not to have asymmetric regulation, and to have a very equal enforcement of the regulation. So I think that the regulation that there is the enforcement, but in this moment, the more regulated, the better it is. I think that's a directive approach is the only one that can really give a boost to the change.
Okay, first of all, I would like to thank you, Professor, for say about the importance of the digitalization for the sustainability. Yeah, I owe you. Okay, then I think for a digital consulting company, it's easy to meet our own standard easily. And I think for the low carbon, for all these standards, but usually for our clients, it's more difficult, as some of the local laws, we cooperate with law firms as well. Some of the clients will including these law questions in the consulting contract. So we have partners to solve that. So I can do recommendations if you have any problems. So yeah, not for our business, but for our partners. But we do treasure our stakeholders. Other than the profits, we need to hear more stakeholders' voice. like the local communities, like the international nonprofits, as well as the companies we cooperate with. It's like not only yourself meets the standards, but with your partners is very important for us too. So we are trying to, first of all, I'm guilty about traveling. We kind of like traveling all over the world, like to communicate with OECD, with ILO, and to meet, to get the updated informations and to serve our clients well, so that we can making progress together. And we talk to international NGOs for even they write reports about our clients, but we think it's good so that we get the complaints, then we have the solutions. So we encourage our clients to reply or get response to these kind of reports. So otherwise the communication never starts. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, there's not so much more I can say. If you look at not our business, if you look at the SME, and we have a few key words, buzzwords like sustainability, social things, and one of the more and more important buzzwords is regulations. And we focus on globalization since 20 years. But the regulations are done from China, from the European Union, from US. Why not done from the WTO, from the World Trade Organization, for all of us? How much time, how much mistakes we did in the past, because probably we know our own regulations in China, but who knows which Chinese person here in this room knows the regulation which are done in Brussels? It is always so, yeah, I don't want to use a typical German word for it, but it makes our life really difficult. We spend time for things which could be so easy if we would be able to work together. Now we come back to the things I said before, cooperation instead of competition. And when we talk about money, how much money we lost in the last years to protect ourselves, how much money we lost with taxes, with all the things, in fact, nobody wants to have. Instead of sit together and find a regulation which is valid for all of us, no, in every village, not only in China, even in Europe, you have your own regulations. And if you look at the European Union, if only one country has some concerns, it will block every decision. So we don't talk about majorities. It has to be done with the votes from all. And to bring all under one roof, forget it. It will not work in Europe and it will not work in China. So it needs a global organization who take care for it, and not every country or every region will do it by him or herself.
Thank you for your sharing. Can we now open the floor to our audience here in the room, and also to our participants to this hybrid event online? If anybody has questions to any of our panelists. Yes.
Yes, I have a question for Professor Donat. The reason of his mainly for the reason of his occupation, as he's dealing with young people on a daily basis. The question comes from the consideration that sustainability is a new concept. I remember when I was a kid, there was no such word. There was a culture of non-wasting. You know, finish your food, switch off the lights, don't waste water. And that was kind of normal. Then now we're talking about sustainability in all aspects of our life, including the economic life. So my question to you, Professor Donat, is how are the younger generation concerned aware and also involved in this concept? Is it something they really feel, or it's something still foreign to them? Thank you.
Actually, this is what makes me optimistic about the future. Young generation are more concerned than we were about sustainability. I can see this because one of the advantage of doing my job is that let's say, my counterpart never get old, right? It's always 21, 22, 23 years old. So it's basically 40 years, 30 years that I'm dealing with 21 years old people, and I can see the changes. Actually, young generation is more concerned that we were, and this is probably thanks to the effort done in the primary schools, in the elementary schools, some media, etc. So there is, I will be joking. No, we are friends. That's why I made this. So it's the block to the development, no? Because of course there is no time for the future. They know. Some of us haven't realized yet.
To this point, I mean, knowing that the young generation is all about sustainability, you can turn it also around to your advantage in an SME to become more interesting for high talents. If you're a sustainable company, you'll have more sustainability minded people wanting to work for you. So that's something that you can really, if you live it in your company, if you live sustainability, if your culture is such, you will be more attractive for these future talents.
As you know, one thing that's really interesting, I graduated from IBSS 2 years ago, so it's really interesting. We have corporate social responsibility class as a complementary for all of the undergraduate students in our year 3. And to be honest, at first it really made me headache because we have to write a essay really long, do a report, and the professors always give us the lowest scores. But to be honest, 2 years ago, I feel like the class itself means something because a lot of the ideas from that course really start grow on us, on our new generation. So I really think the university is one of the critical elements to make the things happen, to make the change. So it's really important, better than ever.
And we do, in the meantime, receive a question from our online audience. I'll read it out. Hundreds of cargo planes are shipping Temu and AliExpress parcels from China to consumers in Europe every week. The number is increasing, not much in favor of a green transition towards sustainability and negatively impacting local retail SMEs. How do you evaluate the development of these business models over the next years and the responsibility of policymakers in both China and Europe?
That's a complex one. I believe, yeah, you have an idea, I'm thinking.
Yes, because I'm a social media idiot. So I even don't know how to order something online. For this case, probably I'm not so guilty as others, but that this has to change. I guess all of us are clear about this, and also the consumer habits to order everything online will change, has to change. It needs time. And sometimes I think we change from one extreme to the next. When I hear, oh, we have to reach this and this, and in Germany they said, oh, we want to be green in 2040 or 2035. Even our God needs 6 days to do everything. So we should do what we can do, and it has to be done. These are the facts. If we can do it faster, congratulations. And also to order things online, to ship parcels, Who told us that the passage has to be by air cargo, let's say 5 days, 6 days, door to door from China to Europe? Who told us that a passage should be in 5 days in Europe? It will change. The world will change us if we can't change the world. So I'm not afraid about this. And to bring it into a mind from a person who, let's say it in a bad way, who never saw a university from inside, it is not so easy. Why I should change if the others don't change? I even can't afford a car, and someone else drove a car who consumes 30 liters for 100 kilometers. These differences we will have, and these differences we will have in our wallet, and these differences we will have in mind. But sooner or later, everybody will or has to realize that it will come. And the universities are an indicator for it. I also teach part-time in university, and it is unbelievable the spirit you can feel in the university to bring this change forwards in Europe and also in China. In US, I'm not sure, but I guess we have the same situation in US. But it will come. I'm not afraid. And this, I need my food in 5 minutes, or I need my parcel in 1 day or 1 week. We have the discussion about the German postal service now, that the German post said, oh, not 24-hour service anymore. We allow ourselves to do it in 2 days or 3 days. The people in Germany were shocked. 20 years ago or 30 years ago, nobody asked for if a parcel. We will change by ourselves, or somehow we will change by law. That's it, regulation.
That's why we need to combine education and regulation. Because, for instance, if we take the apparel industry, it's the 4th industry in the world for water consumption. We have roughly 1.2 billion items that are produced every year that are never worn by anybody. Okay, and you were saying 5-8 days. Actually, we are in terms of 24-30 hours, because there is a very famous company that place the order in the morning. They want the product in the evening, and in the evening they are flying from Guangdong to California. So it's less than 40 hours. But of course, if the product goes to the market and is the product that the customer wants, the price that the customer wants, is very difficult. That's why we need to combine regulation and education. If we don't
and jobs, that's very difficult to reconcile. So that, but I agree to your point. If there's no demand, then the businesses will have to reorient it and do something else rather than regulate them to death. Maybe to start by education will be, hopefully the next generation will go and brew their coffee themselves.
Any different opinions from the next generation, or logistics or e-commerce operators? Question over there, yes.
Yeah, I just have a comment about the directive. If you look at the European directive, it's actually a proposal about the corporate sustainability, due diligence. It focuses on human rights. It focuses on the otherwise environmental effects, but doesn't touch so much on the SMEs. They focus on the multinational companies, big ones. So SMEs are not really, important for this directive. Important because they are in the supply chain, some of them. And I think the European Union wants to protect SMEs because it's hard to follow the sustainability. And we talk a lot about sustainability here, but the directive also focuses about human rights, actually. So it could be a sensitive topic in some parts of the world. And still it's a proposal. It's not yet becoming a directive. And it still takes time to transport into the national national country, the member states. So I think it would be years for that to come out. So that's from my legal perspective. Yeah.
of the world. And the second, that as a small and medium-sized company ourselves, I think we can have some initiatives. If not now, when? If not us, who? So we can get a start. And from a person myself, I think I will live in a zero waste island for 4 days as a experiment. I hope it works. Thank you. Yeah, as our research shows that almost 100% of the ICT industry companies, they know about the LKSG, CSDDD, but we ask a question, have you taken any action about that for the small and medium-sized companies? Only like 5% of take some steps of that. So as you said, some of them think that it's far from us, but we can have a try. We can at least have some initiatives. Yeah.
I have a serious question, because for me, if I hear the word, it takes time, if I ask myself every time, it really takes time, or it is just an excuse not to get up? For me, it becomes more and more an excuse, because we know by ourselves, if we really want to have something, we will reach it with the highest performance we can give for ourselves. But if we have to do something for a thing we even can't bring into our mind, environment protection, climatic change, and for sure, it rains a little bit more, it is a little bit more hot, but the real climatic change is more or less not really visible. We see it in the news, we hear that in some countries they have more problems. So I think time is still an excuse, and as long as our feet are dry, we think we still have enough time. Time, when we talk about parcels, just expand. But when we talk about we should do something, and it was totally right, if not we, whom should do it? I think we have a kind of group in Germany, they call themselves the last generation. And it is somehow, it is true. We are the last generation who can do something. If we don't do something, then there is no one else anymore.
Thank you. I think we are about time. We do have still some questions from our online participants, but I guess we can try to answer that after the event. So feel free to reach out to us at the SME Centre and also at the European Chamber. Before we close today's event, I would like to suggest everyone to give a round of applause to our panelists. Thank you for your sharing. This is the end of today's event. A small advertisement from the SME Centre. This has been the third time in half a year time that we touched upon topics related to sustainable development and green transition for SMEs. And this will definitely not be the last time in this year. So please stay in touch with us for our future activities. And if you're an SME yourself, get in touch with us if you have any business related inquiries. We are more than happy to support you with that. Thank you for your attention. Thank you very much for coming to today's event.